Hello and welcome back to the Nonstop Podcast. My name is Erica and I'm your host. On today's episode, I am discussing ladies traveling solo with the beautiful Navanita. Next Up Nonstop is a travel and lifestyle podcast that promotes the importance of traveling and mental wellness for millennial women. We discuss everything from travel to dating and careers to mental health. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for entertainment purposes only. All right, let's get into it, shall we? And so, Navanita, let's go ahead and start it up. Go ahead and introduce yourself for us.
Hi, everyone. My name is Navanita. I am an Indian-born Canadian citizen right now, living in Montreal. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here. I was approached by Erica to come to this podcast. So yes, I'm happy. And to talk about myself, I work in a pharmaceutical company full time, and I'm a photographer in my part time. And whenever I have free time, I'm a traveler. Of course, COVID has changed that.
Yeah, of course.
COVID has changed that. Yes, in the last 2 years, I haven't been, out as much as I would have liked to, but I'm looking forward to, starting again soon.
Getting out there.
I moved from India to Canada to study. That would be my first. I mean, it was not traveling, but it was just moving here for studies.
Yeah.
That was 2003, and this is 2022. I've been here for all this time. So yeah, so I didn't know anybody here. I came to Vancouver for my master's, and I didn't know anybody. So I got used to, eating out alone, going to movies by myself, going to restaurants. Well, of course, I had friends, but then there were times like when they're all busy. I guess getting into being solo wasn't as difficult.
Yeah, so and that's a huge. That's a huge move from India to Canada. So how was that?
Just like,
had you ever been to Canada before?
No. This was my first international move. The first international trip. Yes.
Yeah. So how was that culturally? I know it had to be different.
It was different for sure. It was different. I was younger. I guess it was easier to integrate.
Okay.
And Vancouver is very, very multicultural, so I didn't have any problem integrating. I had an amazing landlord at that time, and she showed me what she had, how to take the bus. And of course, you have to remember that coming from India, it's British style. So we drive on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
That was my biggest thing.
Wait a minute, what are you guys doing here?
Exactly. I actually, on my first day, out by myself, I took the bus on the other side because I thought he was going the other way. And then, yes, and the driver, he looked at me, because the bus was empty. And then I guess I looked very lost. And he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I have to go to the SkyTrain station, which is the metro station there."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, you were on the other side." So he dropped me at another side, and he's like, "Okay, you can just cross the street." So yeah, I have had met amazing people who made the journey really, really easy. So in order to answer your question, where was the first place I traveled to by myself was Paris.
Wow. Okay. Well, tell me about that.
Yeah.
How was that experience? Yeah.
It was very nice. It was in 2014. And I was waiting for some friends to go to Vegas because I was going to a very difficult time at that time. So I just wanted to get out and do something. My mom was with me she was visiting me from India for 6 months. And she left, I think, in October. Yeah. So I told my friends, okay, let's go to Vegas, I'm going to take the Christmas off and we're going to go. They're like, okay, we'll go. But of course, you start with 10, and by towards the end, it's like, oh, we have this, we have that.
Of course, yeah.
So, and November, I asked them, I said, okay, we need to book the hotels and stuff, And they're like, oh, we have this, we have that. And I'm like, screw that.
Yeah, it always happens that way.
Yes. And I'm like, screw this. I'm going to go somewhere far, really far. Yeah. I have an uncle in London. So I messaged him. And I didn't even have his number. I had him on LinkedIn. So I messaged him on LinkedIn. I was that desperate to get out.
That's
so
hilarious.
I messaged him on LinkedIn. And so he's like, why are you messaging me here? It's like, okay, take this number, call me.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I plan to come. He's like, yeah, sure, you can come. he's been there for a long time. It's like,
Okay.
just to be frankly speaking, like, it's not that I don't want to see you, but December is not a good time to come to London because it's
Mm,
gonna rain all the time. You should come in the
okay.
spring. And I'm like, well, I don't have that much holidays. I had this book.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, just come then. So, but they had some other engagements to do, like the day when I was going, I think I was getting there on Christmas Eve or something like that. I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
So I did book my ticket to London and then I flew to Paris, like from London to
Nice.
Paris.
Yeah.
So I spent Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and I think Boxing Day there. And then I came
Oh,
back.
in
I
Paris
didn't
or
have
in
much
London?
money in Paris.
Paris. Okay.
I
Okay.
and
Okay.
so yeah, in Paris. Then I came back to London
Hmm.
for, I think, after I didn't have much money. So instead of
Yeah.
taking the train, that would have, taken me an hour or so. I took the bus, which took me forever, pretty much the
I was
whole
gonna
day.
say, wow.
Yeah, it was like, that was like 25 bucks. I'm like, yeah, 25
Oh
bucks
well, yeah.
compared to 100 something dollars,
Yeah. No, I'll take that.
you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. So I took the bus. I think it took me the whole day to get there, but I got to rest. And that's how
Yeah.
it started, I guess. I was, yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I love that. Yeah, Paris is actually one of my favorite places to go in general. I just love everything about it. Everything about it.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
No,
that's
it is
awesome.
nice. Actually, I think that was the first time I realized that, like I could make it. Like I was so depressed. I mean, I
Oh,
wouldn't say
yeah.
depressed, but I was just going through a bad, sometimes when you go through a bad
Of
phase,
course.
it's like you
Yeah.
think you're gonna get out of it or not.
Mhm.
And on my last day in Paris, I was walking all the way from, if you remember, like all the way from Louvre, all the way to the Eiffel Tower because I was taking the cruise.
That is
It just
far.
it, that was far,
That is
but I
far.
walked.
Oh my
But I
gosh. Well,
walked. Yeah,
yeah.
I walked, and I think that
Wow.
walk, it cleared my mind. I figured
Yeah.
out that, okay, whatever is happening is temporary. When I
Yeah.
get back, I'm gonna be a new person. It's gonna all get better and stuff. I
Yeah.
think that was my moment.
Yeah. That's beautiful though. And sometimes you need
Yeah,
that. Mental health, and I always tell people,
yes,
mental health is so, so important. And if you
it
have to
is.
get out of your comfort zone or get a change of scenery, whatever you need to do it. You
Yes,
know what I mean?
it
Don't be
doesn't
afraid
have
to
to
ask
be
for help.
like,
Yep.
yeah, it doesn't even have to be like international. Like
No,
it
not
doesn't
at all.
even have to be. You just have to get out there somewhere, just
Yep.
out.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree. 100%. I agree.
yeah.
All right, perfect. So it sounds like my actual next question was, what inspired you to travel solo? But it sounds like just the desperation to get out and get around,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes, exactly. It was
I
just,
love
I
it.
wanted to change a scenario. I just wanted to
Yep.
something, see different people or something.
Yeah.
I just wanted to feel different,
Have a
I guess.
different experience. Yeah. 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 I
Yeah,
completely agree with that.
yeah. Because being India, again, I'm 43 years old, so I'm older.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah.
people now do go out by themselves, but people of my age back then, they don't go
Yeah.
out by themselves. You
Yeah.
know, you wouldn't find them. Like my sister goes out. She's 10 years younger than me. She goes by herself in India, which
Hmm.
is it now. It's becoming like a norm. But
Okay.
again, back like almost 10 years ago now, so it wasn't the norm, especially
Okay.
for me. I mean,
Hmm.
for people my age, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, you're crazy. You're going by yourself." Like, I'm
Was
like,
it
well,
was it because it's dangerous, or is it just because, you guys just
because you're a
don't do
woman.
that? Oh,
Because
okay.
you're a
Well,
woman, you're a
yeah.
single
Yeah.
person. Like, why don't you wait? Why don't you go with somebody? It's like, no,
I
I just
see.
need to get out.
Okay.
I'm going to get away from people.
Yeah. That's the
Yeah,
whole point.
yeah, exactly. I'm going to get away from people. So no, I don't want drama. I just want to be by
Yeah.
myself and see
Yeah.
something different. Just, yeah, be
I
out there
love
for
it.
some time.
Yeah, no, I get that
Yeah,
100%. So,
yeah.
what is your favorite place to go and why?
So far, well, I think all my trips have been favored because all these places have their own, like,
Yes.
their own thing. Like you
Yeah.
go, I don't think I would say that I have this favorite place or favorite because all my trips are special.
Okay.
But if I have to say, like, if I want to go back, it's Prague. Prague is
With
so
Prague? Oh,
beautiful.
yeah.
Prague is so beautiful and it is so affordable. I think that also comes. Like, I like Norway,
Yeah.
but Norway is too expensive.
I was going to
So
say, Norway is beautiful.
yeah, yeah, it's very
Yeah.
beautiful. But if I
Super
want to go
expensive.
back, I would have to think like few times. Like, do I want to spend
Prague,
all the
yeah.
money there or go somewhere
Yeah.
else?
Yeah.
But Prague is like, it's affordable. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the places I would love to go back.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, now that's nice. I would agree with that. Okay, so
Yeah.
what are some things you actually learned about traveling?
It's not as difficult as people think. I mean,
Mm.
but for solo, I'm talking about solo traveling,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
traveling. Like when you're with someone, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
you're with people.
Mm-hmm.
But solo traveling, I mean, it's not as difficult. I mean, I find it easier to make friends.
Yeah.
And I have met so many people on my travels, and
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
still in touch with them.
Yeah.
And I have seen actually people in different countries. Like, for example, in Barcelona, I went to
Mm-hmm.
Barcelona in 2018,
Okay.
and there is Barcelona Facebook group.
Okay.
It's for actually locals, but I saw in one of the groups that, oh, if you have questions about Barcelona, you can
You can
just
just ask. Yeah.
ask there.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and asked, like, I'm coming from, say, Montreal, and where's the best place to stay? So
Yeah.
one girl responded saying that, hey, you know what? I have a private, like an apartment. I have a free room if you want to come
That's
and
awesome.
stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, sometimes you think like, okay, like, but again, she's a local. And then we chatted a few times. She showed me where
Mm-hmm.
she's at. She lives like maybe 2 blocks away from Sagrada Familia. So it's really central.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I stayed with her for, I think, yeah, like a week or so. Like I did go to Valencia in between, but I stayed
Yeah.
with her. And then I met her in Prague again. So yeah, I told her I'm going to Prague. She's like, hey, I'm going there. I'm going to be there for a wedding. So we
Oh,
met for
that's so
breakfast.
nice. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
and that's the
So
best thing. I mean, you never know who you'll meet and you never know where you'll meet them.
that's
That is
one thing
fantastic.
I really,
Yep.
really love about
Yep.
it. And then there was a lady I met in Greece, and we tried like she's retired now. She's a college
Okay.
teacher in Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
So she told me she loves traveling, and she actually hosts, like she takes students because she's a college teacher, so she takes students,
Oh.
you know.
Oh, that's
And she
awesome.
told me,
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, if you want to go somewhere, let me know. So my last trip was to Portugal, and I
Mhm.
told her, I said, hey Vicky, I'm going to Portugal if you want to come. She's like, okay, I'll go. So I met her. So she flew from there, and
Oh,
I
I
met her
love
there.
it.
So yeah,
Oh, I love it. I love it. And that's, I mean, that's what I think most people need to do. A lot of people just to get out of your comfort zone, like we were talking about earlier, but you can meet so many people from so many
yes,
different places and just have these, maybe not necessarily random, but sometimes just random
yeah,
experiences that you
yeah,
never would have
yeah.
had prior. I love it. I
Mhm.
absolutely love that.
And
Okay.
also,
So,
I find that I find, like, when I stayed in a hostel, like only once
mhm,
I stayed in a hostel, that was in Israel.
okay.
And
How was
then
that
when you go
experience?
as, it was nice. It
Yeah,
was very different for me.
I bet. Yeah.
But because I think that's, as I said, my mom told me that I'm going to get bombed. I'm like, yeah, as if they are waiting for me.
No.
My mom said, why Israel? Like, why do you want to go there? You're going to get bombed. And I'm like, yeah, as if they're
No.
waiting for me.
Yeah.
But no,
But I
it
mean,
was
those are
nice.
experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very different. It was in October 2018. I
Okay.
went to I went to Tel Aviv. I flew to Tel Aviv, and I stayed in a hostel, and the hostel had a tour. So I didn't actually do it by
Nice.
myself. So I
Yeah.
joined the tour.
Yeah.
So I went to because I wanted to go to Jordan, to Petra. So it
Yes.
was easier to go through the
Trying to get
tour
there.
than doing it by myself.
Yeah, I
And
agree. I understand that.
yeah, so I met some like people, and then I'm still in touch with them, and then we
Wow.
promise each other that whenever we can go, like maybe we meet somewhere else. It hasn't
Yeah.
happened yet because of COVID, but
Yeah. Well.
someday.
Hmm.
Yeah,
There's nothing
as I
wrong
was
with that. I love
sorry,
that.
I just got sidetracked. So
No,
even
no, no. Go
there,
ahead
I
for
saw
sure.
that people who were traveling by themselves, they were able to
Hmm.
talk or make more friends than people who were going
Yes.
by,
Together in a
you
group, or
know,
yeah,
yes, exactly.
that's
So
what
I was
happens.
like, yeah, like I was in Greece by myself, and I got a tour plus the flight. I took, actually it was a tour,
Yeah.
and it was the flight and the tour included. It was $2,000.
Nice.
I'm like, hey, I'm going there.
Yeah. I
I'm
was gonna
like,
say
$2,000.
nice.
I can never do it by myself. Like the
Yeah.
flight would have cost me more.
Yeah. I
So
agree with that.
anyway, so I
Hmm.
went there. So it was like I had different groups. So if I want to see different places, I mean, go out and see like touristy stuff, I had
Yeah.
one group to go with. If I
Well.
wanted to like hang out at the bar, I had another group. If I
Hmm.
wanted like stuff like that.
I love
And
that.
yeah, because I'm by myself, everybody would come like, oh, do you want me to take a photo for you? I'm like, sure. Like, I would never
Aw.
say no to that.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. So yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
it as I said, like it's not as difficult as people think
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. I
You
think
just have to be
sometimes it just
open.
feels scary. You're doing something unknown by yourself. I think sometimes it alone can scare somebody. You know what I mean? But I
Exactly.
think that's one
Yeah.
of the best parts. And it actually goes into my next question for you. What are some of your strengths and weaknesses that you've learned about yourself while traveling?
I have learned to trust myself more. Like my go with my
I
gut
love that.
instinct. Like, okay, this is not safe. This is safe.
Mhm.
So far, it was only one trip I had gone with a friend. Like,
Okay.
she flew. We went to Cuba together. So
Oh,
she flew
nice.
from Vancouver. I flew from Montreal, and she got there one day before. I got there like
Okay.
I flew
The next
back
day.
one day later, kind of thing.
Okay.
So other than that, I have done by myself. Even in a tour, like I would always go say a day before, and so that
Mhm.
I have the day to myself to explore by
Yes.
myself.
Yeah.
So I have learned to trust myself more. Like, okay, if my gut says, okay, don't go there, don't go. And
Yeah.
I think sometimes you have to rely on yourself a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. I mean, it's important in every aspect, but when you are by
Absolutely.
yourself in a foreign country, you learn to take care of yourself more. I
100%.
think
Yep.
that's one thing. And then the strength is like I think I'm friendly enough.
Yeah.
So it just
I would say so.
happens that yeah, it happens that okay, I meet somebody, we meet for lunch, and the next thing you know, we are touring the place together. So
I love it. Yeah.
yeah, so that's I think that has helped me a lot.
Okay.
And weaknesses, as part of weaknesses, I think well, because I'm in this country by myself, sometimes I think about the financial aspect. Like I would like to do a little bit more adventurous
Mhm.
stuff, but sometimes it's like, okay, either it's cost effective or not. I have to think about that
Yeah. And
more.
I
Or
understand
if
that.
yeah, that one thing. And the second thing is like, well, the repercussions. It's like, okay, if I hurt myself, what's happened then? I still have to get back
Yeah.
home. So I think
Yeah.
that's one of the things
Mm.
I have learned to like when I went to Petra, like I have learned to be like a little bit more relaxed. I'm like, okay, you
Okay.
can like, you have to climb a lot. If you go there, you will know it's beautiful, but it is, I mean, people have done like, I don't like to ride on animals. Like
No,
I
yeah,
have done it.
same. Yeah,
I
same,
have
same.
done it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have done it, but it was hot for us, for a human, it was hot, and
Yeah.
I don't think it's it was wise to get on a donkey or like I think they had camels to
Camels,
and
yeah.
no, mostly donkeys actually to go
Okay.
up. I'm like, I don't think I would like to do that because that's a lot of, I know the animals are used to doing, but it's like
Yeah.
something. I'm
I
like,
mean,
no,
like I said,
we'll do
I've
it by
I've done
ourselves.
it as well. Yeah, and it's just sometimes it gives me that little like, I don't think I should do this, or I don't want to, I don't want to
Yeah,
hurt
I've done
myself.
it,
I'm
been
like,
there, done that. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
I'm done. I wanted to ride a camel. I went to
yeah,
India. I went to the desert. I rode a camel with my little sister, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I can say that I have done it. I don't want to do
okay,
it again.
check.
Done.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly. So yeah, it's done. Yeah,
okay, that's
yeah.
cool. Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
rode a
I think
camel when
that's
I was
one
in
thing. Like
Egypt,
it.
so I like that.
Yes, I think
Hmm.
probably I would do that if I
Yeah,
go there. But it's yeah. But as I said, like I've done it, but it's not
yeah,
a big thing
yeah.
depending where you are at. Yeah,
Hmm. That's true. That's true.
yeah.
Well, very cool. Okay, so as a woman, what are some precautions that you take when you travel? Do you tell people you travel alone, or how do you keep them from finding out that you're alone? Is that something that you worry about?
I yes and no.
Okay.
Because I'm in a new place, people don't know me.
Yeah.
And I have stayed mostly in Airbnbs
Mhm.
when I go by myself, like in the tours, the hotels. But
Okay.
as I said, I have stayed in a hostel once.
Mhm.
I don't usually like, I think I'm one of those people. I could be very friendly and I could be very standoffish kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm by myself, don't
Depends.
bother me. I have
Yeah.
that look, just don't bother. Like I could be friendly when I want to be, but I could
Yeah.
be like, okay, leave me alone kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that has helped me a lot. But depending on who, like if I meet a stranger, I would never tell them that, okay, I am lost or I am,
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
myself. I would not do that.
Mhm.
But usually, like I'm always connected to my friends here, so it's like, oh, I'm going to here,
Yeah.
and I always say that if you don't see a post on Facebook, call the police that
Check.
something has
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
happened.
Something's wrong.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, because if
Yeah.
I'm traveling, even if I don't do a Facebook like post every day, like when I'm
Mhm.
here, but if I'm traveling, I'm gonna do it. If you don't hear
Something.
from me, there's
Mhm.
something wrong.
Yeah.
That's one thing. And the second thing is like I don't do much stuff at night. It's like
Got it.
9 o'clock. I'm back home.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
like most of the time, like 8:30, 9 o'clock, I'm
Mhm.
home.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And like in Israel, like we were like a bunch of girls. We had gone out.
Okay.
I have never been much of a club person, so I don't
Mhm.
do all the partying stuff.
Yeah.
Like when I go sightseeing, I'm going sightseeing, like
Yeah.
it's like I like to observe that. So I don't do any of so
Mhm.
me, I don't mind getting up early and going
Okay.
out earlier, but I
Yeah.
don't do much stuff at night.
At
So
night.
that's one thing I'm very careful about. And
Mhm.
as you said, like, I don't tell usually people that I'm by myself unless
Yeah.
I'm in a hostel. I'm staying with, I met somebody, then it's like, okay, let's go out. We
Yeah,
can do
let's hang
stuff
out.
together. So
That
that's
makes sense. Mhm.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
usually what I do. I usually don't tell anybody. I've only stayed at a hostel one time, and I think I actually stayed in there at it was LA. And I was like,
Hmm.
well, I'm in the States. It should be fine. Because I was always kind of weary about the hostels. I think the ones internationally are much better than the States. So,
Yes.
but yeah, so okay, that makes sense. All right,
Yeah.
perfect.
So I
So
usually don't, yeah, tell people.
yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those
Yeah.
things. And I usually like it depends that sometimes I'll decide like not to take Ubers or I will take it depends on where I am and how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm like, could I
Yeah.
walk
Like,
it? Could I, it depends. It
there
depends.
is one, I think, unfortunate incident that happened was in Rome.
Okay.
And when I travel, I walk. I
Mm-hmm.
choose an Airbnb, it's very central that I could
Mm-hmm.
walk. Like I don't like to take because I think I get to see more when I'm walking than I'm taking
Absolutely.
public transportation. It's very,
Yeah.
very rare that I take it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was my last, no, not last, last second day in Rome, probably
Mm-hmm.
after the Vatican, probably. Anyways, so I was walking back home, not home, like, I was walking back from the Vatican
Okay.
and I stayed close to Colosseum. So in the morning, I took the bus to go to
Mm-hmm.
Vatican because I had a tour booked at like, I don't know, early in the morning and stuff like
Got
that.
it. Mm-hmm.
And then after I toured, I was walking back. And then at some point I just got lazy and I'm like, I'm tired. I've been walking. I have been on my feet for like 3 days, like,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
saw the metro station. And I'm
Okay.
like, okay, I'm gonna take the metro. But Europe, it's not very safe. I mean, pickpocketers. I'm talking about not
Pickpockets. Yeah, yeah,
safe
yeah.
like other things.
Yeah.
So I had my camera bag and I had like a crossbody purse. So everything
Mm-hmm.
was fine. But on the
Okay.
train, somebody pickpocketed me and like I had my passport there, I had one credit card and I had some cash. There wasn't much cash because I don't carry too much cash anyways.
Okay.
So the only thing that was missing was my money. Maybe there were like 50 euros and my
Okay.
cell phone charger. And I was worried for my passport. I'm like, oh my god, my passport, like my
Yeah, I was
passport,
gonna say
credit
that's
card.
what I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were
Yes.
gonna say they took it. I was
I'm
like,
like,
no.
no, no, no. I was like, I had it. I'm like, okay, that
Okay.
was the unfortunate event in all these years that
Yeah.
had happened. And I think that made me a little bit more cautious I mean, in
For
a good way.
sure.
Not
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
paranoid. Yeah,
Hmm.
not paranoid, but to be cautious because in Canada, you don't hear those things. Same thing in the States as well, right? You don't
Yeah.
hear that
I was gonna
as
say
often,
that's
like
usually what I hear in
pickpocketing.
Europe is pickpocketing. Yeah.
Yeah, like pickpocketing, you don't hear it. But yes,
Hmm.
I grew up in India. Like common, I don't know, but it has never happened. Like until it happens to you don't know. Like it has
Yeah,
never happened
I
to
can
me,
agree
so I
with
was
that. Yeah.
never, yeah, it never happened. So yeah, I didn't even think about it. Actually, there was a lady on the train because the train was packed,
Oh
and
yeah.
those were
Well,
like
that's a
gypsy
good time to do
women
it.
or like younger
Hmm.
girls. And I came back and I told my host, and she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." I'm like,
Yeah.
"It's not your fault."
Yeah.
She was super nice. She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." So the next day, she gave me a pure Italian experience. She took me on her Vespa.
Oh no, that's so nice. See,
Yeah,
well, I
she
was gonna
took
say at
me.
least some good came out of that.
Oh yeah, yeah. She took me on her Vespa. She told me around, and there is this
Oh,
church
that's
where
nice.
the Michelangelo. I forget the name of the church, but
Hmm.
there's a statue of Michelangelo there. I forget
Yeah.
what it's called,
Yeah.
and I didn't even know it existed. I mean,
What?
I I mean, seriously, I didn't even know. Like, you read
Wow.
blogs or you read up on it, but you cannot
Yeah.
absorb everything in
Until
four
you
or 5 days,
actually,
right? Yeah.
yes,
So she
yeah.
took me. She's like, okay, this is a secret place. I'm taking you. And we went there. I'm like, wow, thank you. Like, I would have never known
Wow.
about this. She's
That's
like, yeah, you were
beautiful.
only like, yeah. So she told me around.
Wow.
So it was nice. Like, I mean, things happen. It could
Yeah,
have been
of
worse.
course.
I could have
Oh,
lost my passport.
yeah, no joke.
So that was one unfortunate event that happened. But other than
Mhm.
that, so far it's
So
been
far,
good.
so good. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's good. And that also goes to show how you make sure sure, what precautions you take, and just trusting yourself, like you talked about. So it all adds up, and that's something you
Yeah.
learn as you travel.
So
So
when I was
experiences
in
add up.
yeah, so I went to
Hmm.
Italy, and then the following year I went to Spain. So my my money stayed in my front pocket, nothing in my
Yes.
back pocket. My phone stays in my front, and my backpack goes in the front. Like
Yep.
things that I was not, like, as I said, I'm not paranoid,
Hmm.
but it doesn't harm to be careful.
Yes,
Yeah,
I agree with that. And
yeah.
usually when I
So I
go out,
guess
I don't actually take like a whole bunch of stuff. Like I might have like a fanny pack or something. So everything is in front of me. I know what I have. My phone's in my hand, or it's in the fanny pack or something like that. So
yeah,
it's funny, but you have to, there's certain things you learn as you go. So it makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
You
All
just
right.
yeah, exactly. And
Yep.
I don't carry much cash, anyways. Like $20 or $20 or €20 or €30 for the day, it's fine.
Yep. I
Yeah,
would I would agree with that. All right,
yeah.
perfect. So what would you consider or what do you consider when choosing a place to travel?
The price of the tickets,
That's a big
the
one.
first thing. Yes, because everything else can be arranged. Like you can
Yes.
choose to stay in a hostel. You could
Hmm.
choose to cook by yourself. In
Yeah.
hostels you have those, options to cook or something. But the plane
Mhm.
tickets, like that, you cannot,
That's usually the big
like,
one.
yeah. So that's the one. And I always travel off season,
Okay,
so
that's
that
smart, yeah.
helps a lot. Yeah, that helps a lot because I just changed jobs like last September. Before that, in my previous job, we used to work like 4 days a week, and and then you get the extra weekend, and then it just, the way it works out, sometimes you get a whole week off. I mean,
Nice,
you
yeah.
have to take time off, but it's
Yeah.
not like you just have to choose. So because I joined later, I had less seniority, so I could never take time off during the busy season. Say summer, I
Yeah.
could never take time off, or Christmas.
It works for you though.
But exactly, and that
Yeah.
price is like, I went to Greece in February. Who goes to Greece in February?
I
Who
was
takes
gonna say
time
it's
off
probably
in
freezing.
November?
Yeah.
Who goes
Oh,
to,
that's
like, I
awesome.
went to Italy in November, so it
Yeah.
was like less crowd,
Yeah.
cheap flights, and yeah, it just worked out.
Wow.
So yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
first
nice.
is the plane. Yeah, first is the flight.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes sense, absolutely. Okay,
yeah.
so let's see. What's one place that you haven't been to yet, but you really wanna go? I know you said that was probably Prague that you wanted to go back to, but a place that you haven't been to, what's that?
A lot. I'll start in Morocco. Well, we are actually
Oh,
talking about
yeah.
Morocco in 2020. After
Oh.
I came back, or actually
Yeah.
maybe before my trip to Europe, because there are some places I don't feel comfortable going by myself.
Okay.
Morocco is one of them. Unless I'm a part
Yeah.
of a tour, or I'm going with, doesn't matter if there's another girl or somebody, like, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter, because you hear about stories how people, you know,
Yeah.
it differs from
Mhm.
people to people, but
Of
I
course.
do have friends from Morocco who live here, and they actually told me that they could help me out when,
Oh,
getting there,
yeah.
like even getting like a trusted driver or something.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
talked about it, and it turned out that my friend who was supposed to go with me, she said, well, let's postpone it until next year. And then for some reason, I'm like, okay, fine. And it just worked out for our, benefit, because flights probably would have get a refund or some sort of voucher or
Yeah.
something, but then when you book something over there, we
Mhm.
may or may not have been able to get the refund
Get your yes.
in
Yes. Yes, yes. That's
in
the issue.
so it
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
worked out for our benefit. So, and I
Okay.
told her, I said, Sharon, we just got lucky that we
Yeah.
didn't book anything.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we were planning to go in May probably at that
Okay.
time. It was about the time of Ramadan, before or after, I couldn't remember. And then
Got
it
it.
just got postponed. So it just worked out. So, yeah, Morocco is one place I would like to go. Egypt is
Mhm.
another one.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I would like to go to take a safari in Tanzania, like Kenya, like Masai
Oh,
Mara, like, or
yes.
Tanzania. Like, there are so many, it's so big. Madagascar, like, it's,
Yes. That
and
is
I'm from
top of
India.
my list.
Yeah, I have never been to any Asian countries other than India.
Really?
So it's like
Okay.
Japan, like, like
Yeah.
Indonesia, like all these places.
Oh,
They're so beautiful. So
yeah.
there are a lot of places, but we'll
You got
see.
you got a full list. You gotta get to it, okay?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So one thing at a time.
I love it. So, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, actually, how has COVID changed or the pandemic in general affected your travel? I know you said you couldn't travel as much. Have you traveled at all since the pandemic?
Mm, Not really, no, because
No?
Canada was very, very restrictive in terms of, international travels. Plus, I
Mhm.
work in a pharmaceutical, so I'm essential. So
Yeah.
I never got to work from home. And I mean, I have a job that I cannot work from
Yeah.
home.
Like, oh,
So it didn't work. And of course, where the province I stayed in, we were always in lockdown. You can only go certain kilometers. I mean, there were people who
wow.
were not following the rules, which is
Of
okay. But then
course.
for me, it's like, because I guess I'm an essential, so I like to follow rules, like
Mhm.
why, I mean, we didn't know it was going to take 2 years, first
Yeah,
of
of
all.
course.
And it just that, it just
Mhm.
got started. It's like, okay, it's going to, we're going to get over this. Like, and the next thing, so yeah, like last 2 years, I haven't been anywhere, but I think last summer was the first trip that we took. We took a road trip, like
Okay.
with my friends. So we did a road
Nice.
trip.
Where'd you go?
So we did it twice. In here, like in Canada, like
Okay.
we went to an island, well, two islands actually, one in Quebec, one in Ontario. So we did two
Nice.
trips like
Mhm.
that with friends, and one's in August, the other one is in October.
Okay.
So since 2020, that's all I did until
Yeah.
until the past Easter.
Okay.
I went to New York when they canceled all the testing. I went to New York. I have friends
Mhm.
there, so I'm like, okay, I'm coming. So
Yeah, how was
yeah,
that? How was getting there and
it
with
was
COVID, did they have any issue?
no, no.
No?
They didn't have, like, New York is open. I mean, the states
Yeah.
opened up way before we did. Like
Oh,
we
yeah.
just got rid of masks. I think this is the first week. This is actually, I've been in this job for 6 months. Yesterday was the
No.
first day I saw some of my coworkers' faces because
No
I
way.
don't even know. Yes, I don't even know how they
That's
look without their
crazy.
mask.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So New
hilarious.
York was nice. It was
Wow.
different for me because after using having the mask for like 2 years, when
Mhm.
you go, it's like first thing you look for is the mask. And they look
Yeah.
at my friends, they're like, okay, you don't need it.
Like,
And
"Well,
I'm like,
wait."
yeah, but I know. Even yesterday at work, like after lunch, I'm like, I'm looking for my mask. And I'm like, okay, we don't have it anymore. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So
funny.
no,
Yeah,
it was
it's
really nice. Yeah, it was
yeah.
really nice. And New York is one of my favorite cities. And because it's only
Yes.
like 6 hours driving for me, so I
Mhm.
don't mind driving. And again, I got to see my friends after like 3 years,
Yeah.
so it was really nice. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that's the one thing. I still wear my mask every now and again just because I'm a flight attendant, so I'm so used to wearing it, and
Mm,
I always feel a little weird. So
yeah,
now I'm just like, I'm just gonna wear it just because it's already ingrained in me. And plus, it's funny. I
exactly.
was actually wearing masks before COVID hit. So as when I was flying as a passenger, I still had on a mask even before the
Mm,
pandemic and all of it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
when we had to, when they were like, "Oh yeah, wear your mask," I'm like, I was doing it already.
Exactly. Like it did, like people were like, okay, freedom. I'm like, it's not a freedom.
Yeah.
You'd only know when it affects you or your
Yes.
family.
Yes. One
Like my
thousand
mom is
percent.
in her 60s, like
Mhm.
she's a senior. So I
Yeah.
don't want anything happen to her. So I wouldn't
Yes.
want it to give it to somebody who is my mom. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? Like the connections and stuff.
Yes.
So I said no, I don't it's it's a matter of time anyways. Why
Mhm.
risk somebody else? Why risk myself? And why bother like, going through all of
Yep.
that? So no.
I
So
agree.
yeah, I didn't do
100%.
much, but uh, during COVID, like my job, my work hours changed. I worked
Okay.
like instead of working like 4 days straight, we worked on shifts. So it's like we broke the
Mm.
whole lab into shift work, two different groups, so that one group,
Yeah.
if something happens, if you have to quarantine, at
Somebody.
least another group,
Yeah.
can work. So on my days off, like I would just drive.
Oh,
I like
wow. That's nice.
randomly like drive around, like It was actually in
I
some
need
way it was
to
good.
know.
In some way it was good. I had a car accident. I
Oh,
mean, not
no.
good that I had a car accident, but
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
had a car accident in yeah 2 years ago, exactly 2 years ago.
Wow.
And who would think it's a small city getting hit by a car? And I used to love driving before, and I think I never thought that during COVID, during the quarantine time, I mean, like it's a small, like, again, as I said, like something worse could have happened in the sense that I
Yeah.
could have been hit in a bigger city, and then I would
Yeah.
have been like crippled or something. So
Oh, no.
you know
Yeah.
shit happens. So I bought a new car, and well, I had to buy a new car, and then to get used to the new, like I had some kind of like a PTSD kind of thing, like
Mhm. It happens a lot
you
after
it
car
yeah,
accidents.
so
Mhm.
it took away the joy of
Oh.
driving for some
Yeah.
time. Like I used to love drive, like if I get upset or something, that was my thing. You drive like
Mhm.
100 kilometers per hour on a highway, 10 minutes, you're
Let the
fresh.
breeze blow. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like, yeah.
I
So
love
that
it.
was my
Yeah.
thing. that was my thing. Like if I get upset, I'm on the highway because
I'm
I just
driving.
need to get
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
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 So
No,
that
I feel that.
accident took that accident took
Oh,
it out.
yeah.
I mean, took that away from me, but it took me some time. Like, in the beginning, it was like,
Hmm.
okay, this is not, I'm used to it or something. It took some time to get used to it. So this
Hmm.
was probably like driving to New York was probably my longest drive since then.
Oh,
But
okay. And how was that for you?
it was nice. Like
It was
I
good.
realized that I still love driving.
Yeah. I was gonna
I'm a
say
little
it
cautious.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm still a little cautious. Like if I can see, like even if in a parking lot, if I'm going and if somebody sees
Mm,
like I go a little like like but
yeah.
it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah. And
But
I was gonna say
yeah,
that happens. I feel like once you get on the
yeah,
open road though, especially when you have like road trips and things, I feel like it just changes things because the scenery and the trees and the sun and just
I
it's
know
just different.
it.
It's just different.
It's very yeah. It's very different, and I think as we are already discussing like solo. Like I love driving
Mhm.
by myself. Like I don't
Yeah.
like distractions. I don't
What do
like
you
to
do
like
when you're in the car driving by yourself?
I have my radio on
Yeah.
most of the
Blasting
time,
it? Are you
or
dancing
I'll
and
have some music.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like going with the beats. Like yes,
Yeah, that's what I do.
yes, yeah,
I love
exactly.
it.
That's fine because otherwise it's like 7 hours drive. It's a long drive
Woo.
anyway.
Yeah,
So
that's a very long
yeah,
drive.
yeah.
That's
It's
funny.
like I pack a lot of drinks because I
Mhm.
drink and drive. It sounds bad, but yeah.
I was gonna say, well, wait a minute now.
Yeah, so
I
I'll
don't think
have like all
these aren't
kinds like
alcoholic beverages, yeah?
no.
Okay, good. I was
So
like,
no,
wait
I
a
have
minute,
like
let's
coffee,
clarify for the
tea.
people.
Yeah, yeah. So coffee, tea, water, like all kinds of
Yeah.
drinks, like juice and
Yeah.
everything. I don't do much eating because I don't like to make mess in the car.
Oh, what?
So I don't
Yeah.
usually like people like to snack on it. Like
Yeah.
maybe if it's a long drive, I'll carry a sandwich or something. But usually,
Okay.
like it's a lot of drinks.
Yeah.
So, but
Then that means you probably have to
unusually I
stop a
don't have to
lot. Wait a
stop.
minute. Yeah.
Not really. No,
No? Oh, no.
no, not really. Yeah,
That's
not
funny.
really. No, it's
Okay.
like I can
Well,
drive to New
that's
York
cool.
without stopping, so it's fine. Yeah.
I don't know that I can do that. I don't know about that.
But
6
I
hours?
I
I don't
have
know.
done it once. Yeah, but I have done it once. I wouldn't do it again because just
Yeah,
because
I
you
was
need
gonna
to
say.
relax. I mean,
Yeah,
even if you
something
don't have
stretch
to
out
use
or
the
something.
bathroom, but yeah, even if you don't have to use the bathroom, it's just to stretch.
Mhm.
Like I've done it once because it was getting late. I'm like, well, might as well get there and
Yeah,
So
I
that's
get that.
why did it, but I would not do it again. I'm like, I like to
Yeah.
stop and I just want to have the relaxed, like, I'm not going to catch a plane or something.
Yeah, no, I get that
Yeah,
100%. So I have,
yeah.
let's see. I will have a couple more questions for you before I let you
Mm,
go. I don't want to hold you too long. But
mm.
so I know a lot of people are probably working everyday jobs, 9 to 5, that type of thing. So how do you save, or what's your plan when you want to take a trip? How do you save?
I don't buy things that I don't need it. Like I don't own any expensive clothing. I don't have
Hmm.
any expensive accessories. The only thing that I have is my camera gear, that which is,
Okay.
fairly expensive, and my car.
Hmm.
Those two are
Yeah.
the only expensive stuff that I have. Other
Hmm.
than that, like I believe in getting experiences more
Yes.
than acquiring possessions. Like I
Yep.
don't own
Actually, it's
anything
funny. I was
expensive
literally
stuff.
just about to
So
say that exact thing to you. I was like, so you actually prioritize travel and experience.
yes,
Yes.
yes, exactly.
I
Like
love that. Yeah.
and also the last 5 years, I was in a different city. It was a smaller city. I rented a
Okay.
room in a house, and
Okay.
I'm like, I don't need, I became a minimalist because it's so easy
Yeah.
to, gather stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So
All day.
yeah, so the last 5 years, like just renting a room, you only have so much space. So I think
Yeah.
that helped me too. So now I
Oh,
can
very
walk
cool.
into a store and walk out without buying anything.
I
So
don't need it. So you can
yeah,
go into Target
yeah,
and not buy like $1,000 worth of things. Is that what you're telling me?
no, yeah, no,
Well, lucky you. I don't know that I can do
yeah.
that.
But I do spend money on food. If you take me to a restaurant or if you
Oh my
tell me
God.
somewhere like, they're selling food, that I would buy.
Mhm. Oh, you see, you're my kind of
Yeah,
girl right there. I love that. Give me a
yeah,
snack, give me some food, take me to a nice place. I'm eating all day.
exactly. But I don't need an expensive pair of shoes or
Yeah.
clothes. So like, yes,
Yeah.
I don't need any of those.
I
Yeah.
love it. Okay. Well, wonderful. I have one last question for
Hmm.
you before we go, okay? What advice do you have to someone who wants to travel solo but who's hesitant?
Do it.
Yeah.
You just have to do it once and you get used to it. You have
Yep.
no idea like how liberating that is. That's all I can say. Like you have no the freedom.
Yeah.
It's the freedom. It's like I mean, it's a sense of freedom, not the
Yeah.
freedom, but it's a sense of freedom. It's like, okay, I can do this. And going
Confidence
somewhere,
booster.
you don't even, yes, exactly. The confidence
Mm-hmm.
comes back. And even if you don't have to go very far, you can go to
Yeah.
the next city you have. Like, that's what I always say. Like, just traveling doesn't mean you have to go internationally. It doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
like passport stamps. It just
Yeah.
means getting out,
Getting
seeing
out of, yep.
things. Exactly. Seeing something different than what wake up seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just do it.
100%.
You just have to do it once. And like, I never thought I was going to do it by myself, but I did
No.
it and I've been
Yeah.
doing it and I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Tell me
Yeah.
about it. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so, so much. I really appreciate it. And I know that our listeners and viewers appreciate it too. So if you don't mind, go ahead and let them know where they can find you on social media.
I am available on Instagram. My Instagram, what do you call that? Mm,
Your hashtag, your tag, your profile
yes,
number. I mean your
is
profile name. I
Navanita
don't even
S.
know.
Yeah, yeah, it's Navanita S on Instagram, and yeah, and I have a photograph, but that's a different story again. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Well,
yes,
can you spell
I
that
do
for them
write.
so they have that?
uh, Sure, Navanitas at
Perfect.
Instagram, and I do write some blurbs, about the photos where they were taken or what happened
Yeah.
before during my travels and stuff. So I haven't done this for a while, but again, I'm looking forward to do it again post COVID.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. Well, I appreciate it. And thank you so, so much for coming on to the Next Stop
Thank
Nonstop
you,
podcast.
Erica.
We appreciate it, of course. And to my Next Stop Nonstop family, I want to remind you that as a new podcast, it's extremely helpful when our listeners write a review on iTunes and repost the episode or website link so that we can grow our Next Stop Nonstop family. I want to truly thank you all so much for tuning in today. All new episodes of the Next Stop Nonstop podcast will release every week. So make sure you keep an eye out. Also, be sure to tag us at Next Stop Nonstop in any of your comments, or if you have any topic suggestions, or if you just have a question for me. At Next Stop Nonstop can be found on all social media. So, until we meet again, I want to wish you healthy minds and happy travels.